Alright, Ifrit breakdown. So we'll start from the end of Garuda phase, because it is important to note that when she dies, it's kind of hard to see it, but she drops a little light on the ground there, which we have Yen go and pick up. So he picks it up there, and then that will give him a buff, which will be used later to resolve transition. Dragon sucks.
Is it coming through?
Probably.
Can't even do it.
Yeah. Anyway, so Ifrit phase will begin by Ifrit will spawn at a random cardinal. Just on the outside, you have to identify where he is quickly, so lots of spinning your camera around. And then a bunch of plumes will appear just everywhere. And Ifrit will dash through the center of where he's facing. And only 2 open spots will be available. One directly opposite Ifrit, which is a no-go. And then one to either the left or the right when you're facing him. So it's really simple to resolve. You just face him, all the plumes will appear, and you just have to identify which side is open, and you just quickly run to it. It's really fast. It's a good spot to sprint, as you can see. Alright. And Ifrit will appear center. He does Hellfire, big damage. And then he'll tank buster the tank with his cleave. Which we hallowed. We immunity'd every tank buster, otherwise normally it'd be a swap. Alright, so the main mechanic of Ifrit is this nail mechanic here, which is how you awaken him, how you resolve this mechanic. And it also ties into a dash mechanic shortly thereafter. But anyway, so the nails appear, and like in any other version of Ifrit, you do need to kill all the nails before he does Hellfire, otherwise you wipe. However, to awaken him, you have to make the nails big before you kill them. And the only way to make them big is to have the 2 ranged. So we had myself as Black Mage and Eternal as Bard bait these eruption puddles here and hit the nails with 2 of them to get them to their max size essentially before you kill them. So that's what you see there. And then they get big like that one up there, and then you kill them. Not quite that simple, though. It'd be nice. So there's a few things going on here. So in terms of nail positioning, there'll be 2 close together and 2 far apart. So what you essentially do is you'll pull Ifrit between the 2 that are close together, and then the ranged will, however you decide it, they can have one like left or right based on the 2 together, or maybe like a marker or something. It doesn't matter too much. They get one of the back ones, and they start there, and then they do the giant arch that you saw going around. However, during this, Ifrit also applies, which we will see in a second. There we go. He does Infernal Howl, which hit Fideli there as a healer, with this debuff here, which is Searing Winds. Searing Wind is from Ifrit Extreme, and essentially, hopefully I get a good view of it. I don't think I do. But essentially what it is that the healer pulses periodically. I think it is every 3 seconds off the top of my head. 3 Serviticks rather, I guess, maybe. No, it can't be that. That'd be way too long. Yeah, it must be 3 seconds. So every Servitick, he pulses. And anyone hit by the pulse will get knocked back. So the party is more up here with Ifrit and the nails and stuff. The range do their bait around, and the healer will be directly south at this point. The only other thing that's happening is that there is this chain tether, which is on Talon and Kaze in the party list here. And unlike most chains in the game, they want to stay together. The further apart you are, the more damage you'll take. And then finally, it is important which order you kill the nails in, because the order you kill the nails in will decide the order of the dashes later. So you essentially just do a backwards Z. So from this angle here, you start with the nail up there, you go to the nail over there, the nail here, and then finally the last nail. So it's like a backwards Z. I'm looking at it upside down, by the way, because it's a normal Z right now. But yeah, if you consider the two nails top, it's a backwards Z. And there's the chain there, you can sort of see it. So he's gone blue and black glow, the flame glow, so he's awoken. Got a little debuff there. He jumps away, and he does an Hellfire. Note that he essentially never lets Searing Wind go down, so he immediately starts casting it Infernal Howl. It goes on Yen, the other healer. Yen runs over to the side there, so he's away from the party. And then at this point, you need to bait Eruptions again. The way we simply resolve this is that we just had Sonata and Eternal this time just go directly south, and they just do a big arch around the other way Yen is at. And then it's important that everyone ends up at an intercardinal, because if two Ifrit clones will spawn, and they'll just do a big plus through the middle. So they end at an intercardinal there. And then there is a stack. So it's shared damage, that marker is, which is stack. You eat it, and then Ifrit jumps away. Alright, so the reason the order you kill the order of the reason the order you kill the nails is important is because of this mechanic here. So the Ifrit dashes. If he is not awoken, the order will be different. But ideally you want to awaken him every time. But it is still worth continuing your prog, even if he isn't awoken and you're still learning Titan or whatever, for example. It's really easy to do the non-awoken version. But this is the awoken version, in any rate. And so immediately you should notice that there are two Ifrits that are close together, and then two Ifrits that are further apart, just like the nails. And so the Ifrits here are analogous for the nails. So the first nail you killed, if you think of them as the Ifrits, is the first Ifrit that'll dash. So we killed in a backwards Z order. Again, I'm looking at it upside down, so it's a regular Z now, I guess. But so this one up here will dash first, followed by this one, then this one, and then this one. If I've done that correctly in my head, yeah, which I have, I think. Yes, yeah. So you'll notice that one up there dashes, second one dashes, third one dashes, and then finally fourth one dashes. I will go backwards a bit though. So at the same time, one of the healers will have Searing Wind. Like I said, they never really let it go down. So Fideli is essentially just doing the inverse. He's got to do it from the opposite side of the arena. And then the only other caveat is that one of the Ifrits, so any of the Ifrits, can be any single one, it can be any single one, will be the Awoken Ifrit. So the other three are just regular clones. No special catch. But one of them will be awoken, and after the awoken Ifrit dashes, he will do a plus AoE through the opposite of whatever he dashed through. So if he's dashing through an intercardinal here, so you need to end on an intercardinal. But if he was dashing through a cardinal, you would need to end on a cardinal. So he dashes, and then if you notice, right here, as the second one goes off, there's like, so the second dash has gone off. See, there's that big plus. That big plus. And so the catch is essentially that you just have to identify where the awoken Ifrit is dashing through, and you have to end in that same cardinal or intercardinal, because the opposite will be have that plus through it. It usually resolves sort of like this, where you'll just most of the time dash into the first Ifrit's charge, but sometimes you'll have to keep running into the second Ifrit's charge. But anyway, so with that resolved, you're in the final part of the phase here, which is essentially just a mini home run lap. Searing Wind will shortly fall off, and then he doesn't apply it anymore. So you just pull to the wall, Tank Buster, which Dragon will home gang through. Yep, there he goes, he home gangs through it. So we won't be able to do that, I believe, because home gang's timing's changed. But so after that, we just have myself and Eternal bait again. So we're baiting eruptions. All eruptions are baitable. And then we just do a big arch, and then the phase will finish on... Oh, it does have a stack after that, but we killed it. And so then the phase finishes, and then we go into Titan phase. We have the caster pick up the light here. The only point that I briefly want to make is that it's probably a good idea to have the caster pick up the first or the second light, because picking up Titan's light is probably a bad idea, considering they need to essentially use the buff in their LB first. But anyway, that's Ifrit phase. Huzzah!